So these are all, commitment, concentration, these are all very significant parts of leadership which you have. A scientist like Alexander Graham Bell, he discovered the telephone by touching his mother's head. I'm sure you know the story. The mother was deaf, she couldn't hear. So these two boys, Alexander and his elder brother, used to keep touching the mother's head and then talking. The vibrations of their speech made the mother understand them. It is from these vibrations, that sound vibrations, and then, the discovery of the telephone, which is so important to us today. Imagine what level of initiative. He didn't become any leader who was very famous in the public sphere. He became a leader of his own, sphere of existence, and that is science. Thomas Alva Edison, great leader, his school teachers sent him out of school by saying this useless fellow can't be educated. And when he passed away, the entire USA switched off its lights for 1 minute to pay homage to such a great leader. So we don't know what is hidden in whom. That is why I think, this would be a wonderful exercise if we do it. Even in self-analysis, I have put only questions. I'm happy he raised this kind of an exercise, because there I want answers from you only. A real, honest answer. I've just given about 10 questions in that, but we can frame hundreds of questions for ourselves. How do we react? What do we do? What do we think? Remember that soft skills have two areas of improvement. One is behavior and the other is attitude. So if our attitudes are getting corrected, if our behavior is getting corrected, then we are a complete individual. We are choosing these great people because they were complete individuals. It is not as though they didn't have negatives in themselves. I gave you example that, Vivekananda had a horrible temper. He was constantly losing his temper. Sometimes by losing his temper, he would spend a long time regretting. Sometimes he would listen to, Ramakrishna's wife, Sharda Devi. He would listen to her. Whatever mother says, okay, I will do only that, even if I've lost. So like that, all of us have negatives. It is not necessarily that we have to be perfect. Perfection is not, what we are expecting. As an English teacher, I can tell you, perfect means end. What I've been stressing from morning is excellence. Excellence is a receding goal. You reach it, the goal is slightly ahead. You reach it, the goal is slightly ahead. Perfection means finished. Now I have got it. I have nothing more. That we don't want. Although Vivekananda describes education as perfection, I think the vocabulary has changed a little in the 100 years which we have crossed. And now what we are looking for is excellence. So who wants to become excellent in what? How much you want to become? And like whom you want to become? How much is necessary? For instance, we talk about self-confidence. Many people, as they come as students, don't have self-confidence. But overconfidence is equally dangerous. Lack of confidence is dangerous. Overconfidence is dangerous. So what you require? The right amount. Not too much, not too less. An optimum, a level which is necessary. All skills are like that. If you become super skilled, it's a problem. You don't need that much. If you become unskilled, it's a problem. After doing MSc Physics, if you are an auto driver in a city, then you're wasting your education, isn't it? You did MSc Physics. You didn't get a job. You're poor, so you are taking up to, driving auto rickshaw. That is how our skills are. That very often we use a skill, we waste a skill, we don't hone the proper skill, we don't use the right amount of skill, and so on. So these 10 traits to be used when you require. The skill of a leader is how you are managing. That is what in leadership terminology is called as leadership styles. How you are leading, in what manner you are leading. That is skill. Whereas trait is an inherent quality which makes you a leader. Suppose you have courage. You automatically in a group you stand out by saying this person has courage. For instance, we have so many people fighting at the borders. You can easily pick out from our Jawans one Jawan who has leadership traits. If you ask a psychologist, or a psychiatrist in the army, I have a cousin who's an army psychiatrist. You will find that most people lose their mental balance after a war. or after being posted in the borders. Some have that mental balance. How? They have willpower. Leader. Out of 20 Jawans who have come to you today, you know one is a leader. Trait. Trait is quality. Whereas skill of leadership would mean how you are going to lead. I'll tell you, since a question is asked, although it's not part of what I was speaking, some people like to lead by sharing with everybody. You're a leader, but you keep asking everybody, keep involving everybody. That's a good style of leadership. It's called democratic. Very soft-spoken, very gentle, very quiet, very, people-friendly. That is one style. In all situations, although democratic leadership is wonderful, in all situations it doesn't work. In certain situations, what you need is autocratic leadership. The name itself is terrible, autocratic. Doesn't listen to anybody, only does what he wants. Where there is a danger, suppose there is a fire in a big building and you have firefighters working with you, their autocratic leadership is much more important than democratic leadership. When the Twin Towers were burning, you couldn't have democratic leadership anymore. You needed to immediately address. Their autocratic becomes better, skill of leadership. Then you have something called as the paternalistic leadership. Always, very loving and all, but very strict also. It is like the iron hand in the velvet glove. You can't make out the strictness. You think, so loving, so wonderful leader, but actually very strict. Always makes you do what he or she says without showing that he is compelling you to do. Like that, many styles are there. Then, there is what is called as the inherent leadership. The king's son always becomes the king. That is how it was, monarchy and all. That is not correct at all. Inherited leadership, because your father is a great leader, you become a great leader, it's not there. Just because Rahul Gandhi is the son of Sonia Gandhi or Rajiv Gandhi, is he a great leader? Just because Sonia Gandhi is the daughter-in-law of Indira Gandhi, is she a great leader? Just because Indira Gandhi is a daughter of Jawaharlal Nehru, is he a great leader? This kind of questions come in, inherent. And the other is acquired style. Acquired. Each one of us can become a leader. We have a potential to be a leader. Especially in a democracy, leadership is much more. You must remember that democracy has both good and bad points. One good point is that it gives endless opportunity to all of us to become leaders. The negative point of democracy is that very often the majority is not right. We have to do whatever the majority says. Now the majority says that go and burn the country. So you have to burn it because majority is always right in a democracy. So it has both negative and positives. We cannot say it is only positive. So a leadership style which follows any of this, an acquired or inherent leadership, a democratic or autocratic leadership, is what we would call a skill. Whereas trait is what we have to cultivate. Suppose you want to become a leader, then what are the qualities you would look for? One important quality of the leader is communication. Excellent communication. You should be able to tell everybody. Suppose you keep everything to yourself, you're not a good leader. Decision-making ability. When everybody is confused, they are unable to decide, a leader decides. What shall we have for lunch? Everybody is ordering something else. So then decision-making has to be made only by the leader. Problem solving, difficulties are there. How to analyze, negotiation. These are all significant skills which a leader requires. But these can only become skills when you have the traits. The basic trait of decision-making is strong will, strong mind, concentrated ability on a certain problem. Then only you can have decision making. Similarly, communication, when you have clarity, when you have, an openness of mind, when you have a feeling of empathy, emotional intelligence, what we are going to do now. These are traits. So if we make our qualities, what Vivekananda called as character building, man making education. Again and again he uses these words. What is this character building? Certain traits we acquire. We encourage those traits in ourselves. These traits are like small, seeds, small ideas. Once they become more and more, then our personality is formed. Who we are is defined by our traits. We are nothing other than a collection of all our experiences. Each experience gives rise to some quality within us. Suppose a child has been encouraged from childhood, told that you are excellent, you can do well, you can do good. That child acquires self-confidence. From childhood, if you are told that you're useless, you're good for nothing, and so on, you acquire diffidence. You become, confident and diffident are opposite of each other. So you become diffident by saying that I'm not good enough. How did you get? Because your experiences have told you that. No child is born a criminal. How do we have so many criminals in society? Because experience makes the criminal. It is our experiences which make us good or bad. Each experience develops a trait in us. So leadership, what I was speaking about, is how to become a person who can lead others. Once you become, then next, if I meet you all again, we will have a longer discussion as to how you should utilize this to be a leader. Today only becoming, then being some other time. Or if all of you visit Hyderabad sometime, you can meet me and we can have some great times together. Apart from, of course, leadership. Hyderabad is a very beautiful place to see. So all of you can come and see it.